welcome back. Thank you everyone for coming, for participating, for joining this deeper dive into the mysteries of the Holy Nights. My name is Jona Bryndis. And today's exploration on the 7th transition between the 30th and the 31st of December, we want to look at these building blocks of reality in a slightly more refined way. So I want to challenge you today with putting together what we've learned, the deeper understanding of what we've gained so far. There's an important message in the spiritual wisdom that unfolds for us during these holy nights and days. It's why I do this every year. It takes away time from my family. It takes away from the very little free time that I have. And yet I do this. And there's a reason for this, because during these days, and maybe you remember this when you were a child, it's almost like as if time stands still. This time between Christmas Eve and Epiphany, the 6th of January, is a very interesting time. And this feeling of time standing still, we've learned about the spirits of time, the archive, we've learned about them already. That is actually a good sign. When you feel this, it's a memory. So during these holy nights, there is kind of like a download every day, every night, showing us the deeper, the building blocks of our reality, the deeper meaning of these different dimensions of ourselves. So like a download, and it cues us to wake up to this greater spiritual reality that we live in. So my intention, is in sharing this knowledge is not to make you feel good, or to give you relief that, I don't need to do anything, I'm taken care of the higher spiritual forces. On the contrary, there's a tendency for us to consume this kind of knowledge without deeper reflection, simply because it's maybe the first time we're hearing this, or it's maybe something that we still have to kind of wrap our minds around. Many of us have turned our backs to from religion or any kind of ancient spiritual knowledge, and our entire society obviously is sort of materializing spirituality more and more. So it also becomes harder for us to just agree to it, to be open to it, not agree, but to be open-minded, to take in this information without prejudice. So my intention is not to just sort of shove it into you. My intention is to cue you, to wake up, to become curious, to investigate, to maybe even dig deeper into your own inner memory. So using this knowledge, without realizing that there is an active part in us, that this active part is linked to our will. It's a voluntary act of exploring ourselves and the greater reality that we're in. It requires conscious awareness. Something that we all know is sort of highly volatile in these days of mind control and mind wars, where there's a sort of an attack on our attention span. So for your participation, I want to give you extra thanks and extra recognition today. See, without us actively participating in our soul journey, the deep knowledge of ourselves, our origin, and with it also our future, gets lost in the limitations of our perception, the material perception that we are currently working through. And that's why it's so important that we allow ourselves to calm down enough, to spend enough time in stillness and contemplation, to even feel, to hear, to receive this impulse, this cosmic impulse to be curious about how the world, how the universe, how the cosmos and the forces that work within it, how that's composed. So our contribution and collaboration with these higher beings, the higher spirit world, depends on our active development of these spiritual senses and training of our spiritual organs. They lay dormant in us until we start using them. We will not be able to fully connect with the higher spirit beings, and this includes our higher self, that guides us. So that's why this kind of information has been withheld, if you will, or coded into esoteric literature in the past, because when we don't connect with this knowledge, then there is no wisdom that can form in us. And how does this happen? Well, I talked about turning on your inner light. Turning on the light switch. The light is your insight. That is the power that comes through spirit, through consciousness in you. And that also happens to be the very thing that differentiates us from all other nature beings on this planet. So how do we train? How do we develop? How do we awaken our spiritual senses and develop them? Well, you've probably guessed it here, transCODES, that's all we do. For nearly 20 years now, I am guiding people through this inner journey, the inner experience of their higher self, training and refining, purifying their spiritual senses and organs. Not aligning them to any particular denomination or spiritual teaching, but rather helping or assisting them in awakening their own inner spiritual abilities. So by activating or by engaging with our spiritual imagination, so you thinking of angel beings, for example, is awakening your spiritual imagination. It's part of your spiritual organs. Tuning into inspiration. So many of you are struggling with this, how they can translate spiritual knowledge, spiritual experiences, spiritual wisdom into the practical life. Well, the answer is simple: through allowing yourself to get inspired. To have a reference feeling for when there is a part in you coming into expression that is sort of fed from the outside. Inspiration, that's when sort of spirit works through you. It's part of our soul development that we refine the organs that can receive and express spiritual inspiration. And this can be expressed in words, in paintings and drawings, and baking and cooking and knitting and music. Yeah, and if you're not a person that is very artistic, right, then maybe you just engage with those who became sort of the most pure and sort of refined, talents of our history, the big composers, the big painters, the big artists that have left behind a token of their inspiration. So by listening to Mozart or Haydn or sort of meditating with paintings from Raphael or Botticelli or Da Vinci, you are engaging, you're connecting with this inspiring impulse. And last but not least, and I think this is something that most of you guys can connect with more easily, is your empathetic intuition. The ability to feel others, to feel a care and a love for how other people perceive things. And in that way, to develop compassion and virtues and forgiveness, and the willingness to be there for others. If you think about it, these are all very, very Christian expressions. So that is to say that what I cued in the first Holy Night, that the sun that comes to us, the light that comes to us via our consciousness, via our imagination, our spirit, and the love, the warmth that goes along with it, together transformed into wisdom. That is there for all of us humans, regardless of our religious or spiritual orientation. So as we are activating these spiritual senses and organs and working them and training them, there's something very important about actively doing this every day. You know that I also have a Waldorf-inspired school here in Florida, and I work this with our students every day. It's not something that you can just sort of tell people and then it's done. This is something that has to be internalized through each and every one of us, through our practical, our everyday life. And when you do this, you sort of grow them, and you grow through them. And you begin to see yourself or to understand yourself and the world in a different light. You begin to see your own part in manifestation. And that's ultimately, one of these big secrets that we want to unlock, that we have a strong desire to master. How can we manifest what we truly want? Not fully understanding that the journey of uncovering what we truly want is a lifelong journey. And so we kind of do the things that we are recommended to do, like sort of sorcerer's apprentices. We're trying sort of bits and pieces of spiritual knowledge without ever really putting it together and understanding the big picture. So that's part of my intention here. So what have we learned so far? We've learned so far that when we talk about spirit, we are not actually talking about a God, one, like big sort of male sitting in the clouds with the white beard. That's how we imagine it maybe as a child. But we are indeed talking about many spirits or beings, which by the way includes ourselves as well, which is also difficult for our minds to wrap around. So on different levels of spiritual reality, yeah, these spirit beings exist on different levels. I've been calling these different levels hierarchies to allow our minds to sort of slowly open up to the different realms these angel beings or spirit beings operate on. But that's only for us to kind of break through this childlike imagination that the divine, is sort of this one being. It is one, yeah, so no worries. I'm not going to tell you that you have to go back to the old Greek or Norse gods, although with an open mind you'll understand that there's a reason, why the ancient people had sort of different deities or different sort of angels or messengers or sort of spirit beings that were responsible for different areas of life. This is not actually far-fetched. Yeah, so by calling them hierarchies, we're pointing out that they are all sort of under the command, if you will, of God. Yeah, but that God alone doesn't rule everything all at once. That there are different sort of orders and sort of management levels, if you will, of our reality that are being executed, monitored, and directed by these different spiritual hierarchies. And I mentioned 10 hierarchies, and that is probably the simplest way for us in our sort of ascension mindset to picture this. But really what we're talking about here are 3 hierarchies that consist of 3, different layers. So we're actually talking about ourselves as one hierarchy, and then 3 more hierarchies above us that have 3 different sort of triune, beings or powers, that operate on this level. So the angels, archangels, and archai, those belong to the first order of the angeloi. That's the Greek word for angel, or angels, actually. And we've learned about the exousiae. Yesterday we talked about the dynamis, the mights, the forces of motion, of movement, the forces of gravity. And today we will talk about the mights or the dominions, the forces of wisdom, Kyriotetes in Greek. So in the English language is sometimes translated as dominions. They, as a cluster, the exousiae, the sun gods, if you will, the executive, the CEOs of the solar system, the dynamis and the Kyriotetes, they make up the second order of these spiritual hierarchies. In other words, we're talking about the 7th level of divine organization. And to work this a little deeper here, to slowly open ourselves up to these different realms and the angels beings, we just need to look inside, really. And when we look inside, I mentioned this yesterday, as we are exploring these higher beings, we're also unlocking these powers within ourselves. These mights, these virtues. So we have the above, which is the hierarchies, the orders, the ranks of spirit beings that stand above our human nature, Then we have our human nature, and the 3D material world, which we call the natural world. And then we also have a sub-nature. We have the beings of the underworld, which we will discuss more tomorrow. This is knowledge that was quite common and very intuitive for people up until the Middle Ages. But the more we sort of densified, calcified our own being into the material reality, materialism, as I sometimes call this, the less we had access to this sort of intuitive wisdom. And so we've come now to understand that these different spiritual managers of reality fulfill different jobs, and in that, helping us along on our soul journey, understanding ourselves, understanding our origin, understanding our purpose, and with it, pulling us into our higher self, into our future, via training our consciousness, our higher self-perception. And I mentioned that we don't, not just exploring the realms of the supernatural beings above us, but that there is a mirroring, a reflection of these different aspects of divinity within us. So in actuality, by tuning into these different spiritual hierarchies, ranks, management levels, if you will, we are also refining our own unfoldment, our own soul journey for ourselves to become conscious. To not just walk through our life unconscious, seeing life as happening to us without us actually being part of it, and more losing the connection to the nature and the nature world and the supernatural world. So we gotta understand that with us sort of spiritualizing ourselves, we are now going back to something. It's a remembering of something, that is in us, at least as a seed in us, so that we can better understand where we are going. So by gradually unlocking these building blocks of our bridge between the material and spiritual reality, we also need to include the natural, the natural world that surrounds us and the spirits within that. Now this might now be a difficult arc for you because, wrapping your mind around angels and then, all these other spirit beings is hard enough. But this is not enough to fully understand yourself, that there's like stuff above you. Okay, that's just sort of a childlike version of the true nature of existence. There also is obviously a place that we came from. There's an evolutionary ladder, an evolutionary path that we came from. We didn't just pop up. Okay? And so part of the difficulty for us today is to wrap our minds around this harmonization or unification between the natural world, science, and the supernatural, the material and the spiritual. And you will know that I started out as a nature scientist, as a chemist, and that the more I tuned into the knowledge and wisdom of all the nature scientists before me, the more I unlocked into spiritual science within myself and around me. So this arc that I just mentioned is now sort of into the below, okay? And in the attempt to help clarify a few things that I believe our nature science still hasn't fully figured out yet. Yeah, in the course of human evolution, we are not just acquiring all these higher quality, we also acquired traits from previous developmental stages, our natural powers, our five senses, our skeleton, our respiratory system, our circulatory system, our digestive system, skin, etc. So, for example, we can imagine ourselves as higher evolved animal beings, having out-evolved, if you will, outranked the animal kingdom. How did this occur? Well, this occurred over a long process. So evolution happens over eons, really, really long processes, where we outranked animals through three things: upright walk, the ability to talk, and independent thinking. We call this consciousness nowadays, but the word consciousness it's like a placeholder for everything that is not material. It's not refined enough for me. So independent thinking qualities. However, and the reason why I think that science has not quite figured this out yet or brought this together in the right coherent way is that we are not just higher developed animals as science so often or nature science so often portrayed it. There is more to us than just being slightly more intelligent than orangutans. Okay, there's way more to us. And when you investigate this, you can see that we do indeed carry aspects and traits of prior developments, animalistic or animal developments, in us. For example, our skeletal system or the organization of some of our organs, our anatomy is very similar. But there's something happened here in this evolutionary development, namely the arrival of maternal care. The arrival of the maternal care in the animal kingdom led to the animal species to divide up and the mammals to occur. And with a further refinement of this maternal care, like having to be there for your offspring until it has all, not just physical maturity, not just sexual maturity, like in some other animal classes, but social survival skills. And this is very interesting from a biological point of view, because we know that the arrival of maternal care has brought forward the more complex, the more intelligent, the more evolved mammals, primates, for example. However, these animal lines have not developed full upright walk, where the head becomes sort of the point of view. Okay, they can climb, but they don't actually have feet. If you look closely, primates have 4 hands. So the upright walk and the translation of independent thought into talk and communication, how we can do this as individuals has not occurred in the animal kingdom. This has only occurred in humans. And tomorrow, don't worry, we're going to talk about paternal care, what that did to the animal kingdom, but especially what it is doing for us humans anyway. So even though we're not just higher developed animals, yeah, we still carry these aspects, these animal aspects, yeah, these elemental aspects of having been, derived from these animal stages. So we also carry plant aspects in us, yeah, that lie even further back in the evolutionary development of life here on this planet. And yes, you've guessed it, also the mineral kingdom. So when we look at our composition on the nature side of things, through the lens of spiritual science, we can see that we are composed of aspects of the mineral, aspects of the plant, and aspects of the animal elementals, and that we are heading towards the three aspects of the higher spiritual, the supernatural. This is where we're heading. This is where we're going. This is the future of our evolution as humans. And I know that this is now a little bit more challenging when I talk about these things, because building a bridge between the spiritual and the material doesn't mean to just throw beautiful pictures at you and imaginations and everything, is la la land, yeah, waterfall and unicorns. No. Building a bridge between the material and the spiritual means so much more. And this is relevant to today's contemplation. Because in today's contemplation, where we remember the Kyriotetes, the dominions, the spirits of wisdom, that can take knowledge, that can take insight, independent thinking, and transform it into wisdom. You all know that there's a difference between knowledge and knowing. So this is an alchemical process in which the light is transformed into warmth and light within ourselves, the empathy. So without love, knowledge, or insight, if you will, stays in the thinking realm. But with the arrival of sort of the soul, yeah, the feeling aspect, the love aspect, yeah, which is why I compared this with maternal care. Knowledge turns into wisdom within ourselves. And so the Kyriotetes are also associated with the mother of God, the soul of the divine feminine spirit. Yeah, this is why I made this big arc, okay? For us to more deeply connect with this, the soul of the divine mother, the Sophia. Yeah, that's why in Greek, yeah, wisdom is called Sophia. And all our Sophies, philosophy, anthroposophy, okay, these are all expressions of higher knowledge. Yeah, transformed into wisdom. Okay? So when we listen to the energy alignment here at the end of this recording, yeah, which is called the Divine Feminine, okay, we are tuning in to this unconditional love, this maternal care that you can observe in mammals and humans. Yeah, that is one of the most incredible powers. Yeah, the mother love. We all know this. Okay, to move our universe through the marriage of knowledge or insight and love. Yes, through the union into wisdom. And with it, the impulse, the striving to grow. Yeah, so the divine feminine is the impulse to create and provide a space for growth, for nurturing, for healing, for self-correcting. It is what is needed, yeah, for us to grow. That's what the dominions, that's what the Kyriotetes provide for us, this space, this sandbox, yeah, to safely unfold, yeah, our consciousness, our spiritual awareness, our spiritual senses and organs, to develop them safely until we are mature enough, yeah, and become wise ourselves. There's one more aspect that I want to send here with this contemplation, and that is that the striving for growth often, and you will probably have felt this already today, is new moon night. It is the clean slate. It is the planting new seeds, coming up with new intentions for the new year. It is the closing. It's the ending and the new beginning at the same time. Yeah? This property is also linked to clearing, is also linked to purifying. Yeah, so this divine soul of the mother doesn't just bring in the lovey-dovey stuff. She also brings in her unconditional way, the impulse to look at what needs to be thrown out, what needs to be let go of, what needs to be refined. Yeah, what we need to heal. So by tuning in to these divine feminine energies and linking in with the Sophia in us, yeah, we can maybe ask what is needed to purify us so that our knowledge can transform into wisdom. The spiritual impulse that we are feeling within us, the impulse to evolve and grow, is nothing but the yearning for connection with divine love, and that is brought to us by the Kyriotetes. So while these holy nights allow for time to stand still, as I mentioned in the beginning, we can use tonight's alignment to tune into the wisdom of the Sophia, to bring in the power of divine feminine spirit as representation of the enormous power that we are dealing with here, yeah, on this spiritual management level, yeah, that resembles the unconditional love of a mother for her spiritual child. That would be us. And tonight is the best time for remembering this and allowing ourselves to make clean slate, to bring things that confuse us, that scare us, that make us doubt ourselves. To bring them to closure. And allow ourselves, due to the power of our consciousness, the light in us, and the love for truth, the love for the divine in us, to turn into wisdom that allows us to make better choices, but most and foremost, that allows us to recognize what it is that we truly want. And with that, I want to close today. Thank you again for your loving attention. We're listening now to the Divine Feminine Spirit alignment, and I'm wishing you a wonderful new moon night, the 7th of the Holy Night. And I see you again tomorrow on the New Year's Eve. And then if you're interested, on January 1st, apart from our 12 o'clock Eastern live stream here, we'll have a 2 p.m. tuning into these energies of 2025 together. All right, we'll apply all that we've learned here in these last days to tune into not only the different realms of our nature and our supernatural nature, but also the months of next year. So I'm looking forward to this. I see you again tomorrow, and understand that you're never alone. Bye-bye. Divine Feminine. I am one with the divine, balanced and whole. I honor my body and Gaia as the vehicles of my sacred journey, serving me with the inner experience of my sacred self. By aligning myself to the wisdom that permeates me, my body, mind, and spirit, and every cell, thought, sentiment, and sensation in me, I honor the divine soul of the Mother in me that fills me with the love that she has for all creation. She gives me the guidance and courage to walk over the bridge of the deepest abyss in me, just so that I can feel my sacred heart's love in me again. I understand now that I need to be open, and I need to nurture this divine feminine love in me at all times, as its guidance protects me from the illusions infused through collective pain and suffering. Due to the power of this alignment to my sacred heart, I can expel all foreign implants and false programming recorded in any dimension or time, and thus declare my soul purified and cleared from any entity or energy stating otherwise. Without this love for creation, that is so much bigger than my ego, I feel empty, lonely, and afraid in the dark. and cannot connect with the inner power that heals, nourishes, and absolves me. I herewith claim the right to love myself unconditionally. I don't need proof from the outside that I am lovable. I exist, and that is proof enough. The divine love and the grace of the sacred wisdom flows through me. With every conscious breath, I honor creation and allow its power and wisdom to grow in me and to nurture me and all my relations. Divine Mother, in front of you I bow. I surrender all that I am, that I was, and all that I pretended to be into your hands. I thus confess to the power of the divine permeating through me and dedicate my sacred journey only to expressions of divine love.